Should I stay or should I go?
We've been putting this day off for a long. Well, I've been putting this day off.
And I've been every day. Andrew, when are we gonna make that video? What we're gonna keep and what we're gonna. I love minimalism. Like, if I could be a minimalist, I would.
Not married to me. Okay, so I think a bit of an explanation is probably in order at this point. DENAE and I here are making some tough decisions about which of our Fuji gear we are going to keep and what we're going to sell. So the first thing we're going to look at, we're going to go through some categories of stuff. The first thing and the biggest big ticket items are the digital cameras. So we have the X-T4. The X-T3 we're recording with right now. We'll swap that in a minute.
I'm surprised these are on the counter.
Well, I'm just putting everything just for completeness.
All right.
The X100V, the X100 S.
Okay.
The Lumix LX100 II.
Okay.
And the GFX. I should have put the taken the lens off. The the GFX 50R. Okay, so let's start with X-T4. You can see by the seriousness of the undertaking that this is probably the modern equivalent of the political dividing of Europe after World War II. Note the creased forehead lines, the feeling that I've been outmaneuvered. Note the hint of a smile, the reflecting of barely contained anticipation of the possibility of an infusion of cash in our bank account. Better capacity than the X-T3. Mm-hmm. And it has,
so
it's a little bit bigger.
Why isn't the X-T3 on the table?
Because I have to record with something.
Oh, so maybe we should choose between the X-T3 and the X-T4.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're doing.
All right.
So why are we doing this? Why, after 4 years or 5 or whatever of accruing Fuji cameras and lenses, are we selling off so much of this stuff?
I'd say keep the new.
Keep the new one, sell the X-T3?
Yeah.
So the one thing we'll have to figure out is if KEH will take the X-T3 with that saving issue, because we may have to send it to Fuji first. Oh man. Which complicates it, but we'll find out. So so this X-T4 staying, the X-T3's going. We're recording the X-T3, so we can't put it here. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. I just got you the X100V for Christmas.
We're not getting rid of that.
I figured. So of course that stays. So next we have sell for more money.
Yeah, I'd say get rid of that one.
Okay, all right.
It sounds like you really like it.
Oh, I love this camera.
I think we should keep it.
Wow, what a good wife I have. Okay, we're keeping the GFX 50R. Well, that didn't save it. Oh, but we are selling the X-T3 and the LX100 too. Okay, that's cameras.
Yep.
Or digital cameras.
Let's do lenses.
Let's move on to lenses, yes. But before I get into those reasons, I do want to thank this video's sponsor, KEH, who is actually going to be the recipient of all this gear.
Wow.
I think that's all my digital lenses.
Lens hoarders.
Lens hoarders? That's a lot of lenses, huh?
Okay.
Let's start with what you'll probably care the most about when it comes to lenses.
Which ones are my favorite?
Well, portraiture. 90 f2 happens to be my second favorite Fuji lens, but I hardly ever use it because it's a hard focal length. Yeah. So I'm okay selling it, even though I love it.
Yeah. Okay,
so we are going to get rid of the 90, and you want to repair the 5612. And I think we're both in agreement that we can part with the bokeh monster. It doesn't do anything for us.
Yeah.
And then sell the Viltrox, right? Okay. Yeah. So let's go next to if we can part with this awesome zoom lens, the 50-140. So what do you think? Is it important enough for our occasional indoor event that we keep this one and sell that one? This one is worth a lot more.
Yeah, let's keep this one and sell that one.
Okay. 50-140 stays. This thing goes. So you have the X100V, so we're okay selling both the Viltrox 23 and the Fuji 23.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Okay. Next we have, let's go for the 50mm equivalents. And I have only two. Oh, we have a few manual focus ones, which they can go. I really love this 35 f2. It's kind of my favorite shoot around little guy. And we don't replace that really with,
let's keep it.
So we keep that and get rid of the Viltrox one.
Yeah.
the 16mm lenses. I have the 16mm f2, which I like for video on a gimbal. And then my favorite lens of all time, 16-1.4. I think I'm okay getting rid of this one.
Yeah.
I think you know how I feel about that one. Okay, next we have the Zeiss. I love this lens, 12mm 2.8, but it's very expensive, and I've used it once since I bought it, so we gotta sell it.
That's the stay pile.
Oh, it's
Look how big it is.
That's good.
The go pile.
We need it to be big.
Yeah.
So that's it for lenses. Wow, that went faster and easier than I thought it would.
Yeah.
After we finally settled on which gear to sell, we reached out to a professional buyer at KEH to go through our gear over a web call and evaluate the condition and value of the gear. In the past, I've used KEH's nifty calculator, which works really well for one-off things I'm trying to sell to them. But this time, where I had a bunch of gear to assess, it was really nice to be able to talk to someone and come away with an actual quote at the end.
It's a relatively easy thing to fix. The problem is getting to it because it's hidden behind so many screws and stuff. So it takes a little bit of time, and it can be expensive to get to it.
Right.
Let me look up that camera real fast. There would be a slight difference from what we can offer for it because we're going to have to put that repair price into it before we resell it, because that's just part of how we work. We're not going to sell anything that we know is not working. So give me just a second, let me figure out what that would be here.
And I really also appreciate that KEH will send a free shipping label also with all of their quotes. Could we get more money out of this gear selling it on auction sites or local marketplaces? Sure. But we have had bad experiences after bad experiences selling gear that way. It's extremely time consuming. It's expensive in terms of time and cost to ship a bunch of gear, a bunch of different places. Things often go wrong, and it's extremely stressful. For us, selling our gear to KEH means simplicity, speed, lack of stress, and I'm willing to pay the difference to have that done. And beyond that, it's nice to know that all this gear is going to a good home. So why the change? Why the exodus from Fuji? Well, it's not really an exodus. We're still going to shoot Fuji. And let me tell you what it's not, first off. This is not a way to fabricate controversy or drama to get views. This isn't one of those, hey, we're leaving Fuji for Sony videos that get people like insta views, but also instant flame. That's not what this is. In fact, I probably care less about views for this channel ever in the history of this channel now than ever before. There's some very good reasons why that relate. They directly relate to the same reasons why I'm getting rid of so much of this Fuji stuff. And the first reason is that we are kind of having this move is because our style of shooting has drastically changed over the last year. I mean, our priorities for photography are absolutely completely different than what they used to be. And some of those reasons why our styles changed, well, is first and foremost because of the state of the world. A little over a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago now, I doubled down on event photography. After years of kind of doing a little bit of event work here and there, I decided to double down. I wanted to make this a serious thing. I wanted to do event photography in a major way because I love it. Corporate event mainly. And that was going to be what I did. So I started down that path, started some marketing efforts, and that was fine and good. Started getting some jobs, and then right after that, we got hit with COVID, and of course, all events went away, and I still haven't seen them come back. So like that all washed up and went away, as many of you guys know, and fortunately, that's not what I rely on for my full-time job and what our family relies on. We're very lucky that way. I know a lot of event photographers that's not the case for, who I really feel for. But will it come back? Of course we'll have event photography again, but that's something else changed also. But before I talk about that, I also need to talk about DENAE, because DENAE does portrait photography. Of course, many of you know who follow the channel for a while, you know that I don't like portrait photography anymore. I kind of got out of that and said, DENAE, if you want to keep doing that alone, you can, but I'm done with that. I don't like it anymore. But she did. She kept with it until the same thing happened. We started seeing no more portrait work, or if it was much simpler. It was kind of that, front porch from a distance type stuff. And her interests also changed. In fact, you may have seen that reflected on the channel. She's in fewer and fewer of these YouTube videos because her passion and interest has lessened. I don't know if that'll come back or not. I don't know. But yeah, most of the time it's just me on the channel these days. For worse, in my opinion, I think. But, you know, she's her own person, so she'll do what she wants to do. And if that's YouTube in the future, awesome. If not, I don't know. It'll be Andrew and DENAE, but no one will know who DENAE is. I'm not going to change the name of the channel. Anyway, that's a different subject, but it does relate. But what it meant is that our photography needs have changed. DENAE still does photography, of course, but the only thing she's really interested in capturing is the family. So all she uses now is that X100V that I bought her for Christmas. She loves that thing. That's her camera, and she just doesn't ever use the X-T4, the X-T3, and all these lenses. She doesn't use them anymore. And for me, my style of photography has changed dramatically as well, because I have zoomed in ultra hard on my documentary kind of small town, rural landscape, rural decay work. And for that work, honestly, this is right here is 99% of all I need right here. This gets me what I want and what I need: medium format camera and my GFX 50R. And for the rest, I just need a wide angle lens on, you know, my X-T3 or X-T4. That's all. And for family photography stuff, I use my 16mm 1.4, and that's all. All of this other stuff is just collecting dust. It's not being used. And yes, event work could come back, and I could start using some more of this stuff, and for the reasons that I normally shoot with it, could come back. But that's the other thing that changed. When that event work washed up, I started another channel. I started, like many of you, I picked up a new hobby. And I've always been a mountain biker, but my boys have gotten into it. And, well, really all my kids. And as you know, we have a lot of kids, and that means a lot of bikes. And that means a lot of bikes that need repair work all the time. I was in the bike shop almost weekly, and it was getting so ridiculous, and they were so busy because everyone is mountain biking more, or just biking in general. And I had had enough, so I was spending too much money, wasting too much time getting bikes back and forth. It's a little bit of a drive to get there. So I decided I was just going to build my own bike shop in our garage. And since I was doing that anyway, because being me, I don't ever do anything halfway, I decided, well, why not restore mountain bikes too? Because, you know, that makes sense. So anyway, I started another channel, as many of you know. It's called Build a Better Bike, and that channel took off, you guys. I only have done 5 videos because I don't have time to do, you know, restoration work is time consuming. It takes a long time. I can only do maybe a bike a month, a full restore. So in 4 or 5 months that I've had it, that channel has just blown up. And DENAE asked me, do you find that depressing? Because it is growing at a trajectory that this channel never has. And yeah, I mean, you could see it that way, but I don't. The way I see it is I'm happy with this channel. I always have been. I've tried not to compare this channel with other more successful photography channels. I've just wanted to be grateful for what I had, the people who care about what we're doing, and that's been meaningful, and it always will be meaningful. And I don't care if that's 80,000 subscribers or however many we have right now, and that never changes, or if it goes back to 100. It's nice that it makes money. It's nice that people watch it. I would have loved this channel to be a full-time job. I would have loved that, that it could sustain us. But that's kind of changed now. And where this other channel is also something I'm passionate and love, is probably going to overtake this one in less than a year, which is unbelievable. We've been doing this YouTube thing for 5 years, and that other channel, my mountain biking channel, is going to overtake it in views. Oh, it's mind-boggling. Yeah, it's interesting. But what has that done? That has freed me. I don't care as much about what I put on this platform, honestly, in the sense that like, I'm not as worried if it'll offend people. I'm not as worried if it's not quite gonna get the views that it could. And that's freeing. That feels really good to say. And so it's, to me, all of this is kind of exciting, but it also means that I don't really know where it's going. And that means I don't know what to do with all this gear, because what kind of content do I want to create? You know, what am I most passionate? Having that freedom to say, I can just create whatever I want. On one hand, that sounds really exciting, but on the other hand, that also, it's almost debilitating, because before, I wanted to be the Fuji expert. I wanted to analyze every lens, right? I wanted to know them inside out, backwards, left, right, forward, every which way. And I feel that I've gotten pretty close to accomplishing that. I know these lenses, I know the Fuji bodies so well, and have set myself up to be an expert in some degree. I don't claim to be the absolute smartest person ever when it comes to Fuji. I know that there are smarter people, but I like being at that level of expertise. And that goes into my third reason why I'm moving away from Fuji. There's nothing left to discover, right? And I mean, they'll come out with new bodies and new lenses. I'm mostly interested in the lenses, of course, not so much the bodies. But it's slow and it's not enough. Like, I've compared them every way that I want to compare them. I've bundled them up. I built calculators. I'm done with Fuji. Like, I'm ready to tackle something else. The hard part about that is that Fuji's my favorite, right? So what do you pick next? What's my second favorite lens manufacturer? And do I pursue that? And not have the same level of satisfaction? Not really a very good answer of what's going to happen in the future, other than I want to shoot a lot. I want to do documentary photography when I can and get out there and explore rural decay and rural landscapes. That's priority number one. As far as what else I study, I mean, I'm not going to be happy if I'm not like analyzing gear and exploring the geeky side of my nature and photography. So I'm going to figure that out. Maybe it's GFX. Maybe I go into those lenses. Right now I don't feel like I need those, and they're so expensive. If there was enough interest, if people really wanted that, maybe I could do that. But let me know in the comments. I really do read all of those, and I really do keep those in mind and factor that in. I'm sure that whatever you have to say will be taken into account, and I look forward to any inspiration or advice you can provide. But man, I think that's it for this crazy weird video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I want to thank KEH again. Guys, I love KEH. This is a sponsored video. They are paying me, and I'm grateful for that. But even if they didn't, I recommend them all the time. They are my default for buying and selling. They're the first place I look to buy new stuff, because I buy used. I always do if I can. And I trust them. Totally trust them. Never had a single bad experience. I'm not saying that you're guaranteed to never have a bad experience with used stuff. It could happen, but they certainly diminish the opportunity. But they're who I sell everything to too, because it's just so easy. So if you don't use them or haven't checked them out, I would encourage you to do so. Beyond that, they're just really awesome people that I like. Yeah. That's it for now, guys. I got another video coming out soon where I'm going to tell you the future of the other thing that we care a lot about, and that's the Do Good with Your Camera initiative. We've got some changes happening there, but the website is up, and you can still submit your photos to, that have anything to do with Do Good, and there will be prizes associated with that contest as always. So check that out. In the meantime, guys, do remember to do good with your cameras, and we will talk to you again real soon.